All right, it sounds like we're live. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you are in the world. We had some really nice registration numbers for this webcast, and it looks like a really good turnout already here. So can't thank you enough for being here with us. I think we'll be about 45 minutes, keep things really interesting. I promise to keep you all here, move fast, hold your attention. But again, based on the registration numbers and the attendance, it looks like it's a topic that is on a lot of people's minds and you'll want to stay. So feel free to drop questions or comments to us in the chat. We're keeping an eye on it. We're not going to take verbal Q&A, I don't think at the end, but we will keep an eye on that chat. So my name is Rick Fredrickson. I am the Director of Global Channel Sales for Canonical, and I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Dorian Neve, who is Director of Alliances to our very strong and growing partnership with Dell. So the webcast is called Private Cloud Alternatives for Channel Partners. And that's partly because I don't like to take too loud of a competitive stance. But what's driving our thinking here and is driving everybody's thinking right now that we're talking to is that the alternatives are largely driven by what's going on at VMware. And Dorian and I both have a background of long careers at EMC and some at Dell post-acquisition of EMC. So both have a great affinity for VMware as part of what we've learned and teams that we've worked with over the years. But so VMware is by no means an enemy. There are even areas where VMware and Canonical have connections, but they've made some decisions in terms of how they go to market that impact you and impact your customers. And we speak to folks like yourselves, channel partners, literally every single day. And this is a part of those conversations. So we put this webcast together because of just how many of you have had meaningful questions for us on the topic, namely, what are the open source alternatives that my customer can utilize if they're looking to mitigate their use of VMware or move some workloads off of VMware through this change. So that's why we're here, and hopefully we're able to answer those questions and more than anything else, start more conversations with you all based on these meaningful answers. So first off, Canonical, we are, if you don't know us, we are the commercial organization behind the Ubuntu Linux operating system. We generate business by supporting that operating system, which has been available for the last 20 years, widely believed to be one of the most stable and functional flavors of Linux anywhere. We think there are over 5 billion instances out there globally. We think that we're quite sure that we are the most deployed across the public clouds and from a Linux standpoint, and the most deployed from a Linux standpoint on laptop and desktop. And so a large share of our business is driven by a support subscription that we sell to customers using that particular operating system. So we can help them get security updates more effectively, more reliably. We can support them on a 24/7 basis, both their operating system as well as many other open source components that they use with or on top of the operating system. So that's a huge driver of our business. Dorian's going to talk to you more about what that is. But the other big driver of our business is delivery services. So we work with our customers to deploy private clouds using open source technologies like all the ones we're going to talk to you about today, OpenStack being the largest of them. But so those are the ways that Canonical generates business. We are not a software company per se. We're not an enterprise software company per se. So we develop a lot of software, but ultimately our business comes from services and support. For the longest time, Canonical really was not a channel business per se. We have for a long time partnered very effectively across many different types of alliances, like hardware vendors, like cloud vendors, OEMs, ODMs, but we always sort of lacked a focus on VAR as not the top strategic lever for us. But as Canonical really started to see a lot of inbound interest and opportunities from the VAR community in 2022, we decided to put a major investment into that space in 2023. And so since then, we've built a new channel program designed for partners of many different stripes, as you would say. Those partners who are volume oriented, looking to just sell a lot of support licenses, delivery oriented, who are looking to get involved in the projects that we're building and do so themselves. Partners who specialize in level 1 support, delivering customer support for software, MSPs, distribution partners. So we put together a channel program that can be profitable and lucrative for any type of partner, and a program that allows us to enrich them or them to enrich their own offerings through expertise that we're able to share with them. So we also have a channel team now. So there's 9 of us working channel on a full-time basis across sales and marketing, operations, etc. And the results are validating this strategy and validating this investment. So our business is more than doubling by just about any meaningful metric, and we expect it continues to. So that's really exciting. But what is most satisfying to me, leading those efforts, is that we're increasingly relevant to what our partners are trying to do. Right. So you go back to 2022 when we had, that outpouring of demand sort of inbound from partners. We'd be hearing from partners saying, my customer needs a subscription. Help me get them support for the operating system. They have security needs that they're not getting, without the subscription. We said, that's great, right? That's powered tremendous growth for us. But super satisfying to me is we're now also working with technical architects and CTOs, CEOs even, to position their company uniquely with their customer against competitors that are doing different things. And as I alluded to, the biggest factor in all this, the biggest reason that partners are coming toward us and saying, help me be different, is their need for an alternative to VMware. And most of you know why that is, but we can just do a quick level set. So, of course, Broadcom acquired VMware for about $69 billion on November 22nd of last year. And this was met with a lot of anxiety and intrigue, given what Broadcom had done with other big acquisitions like CA and Symantec and Brocade, reduced investment, higher prices, different model. And so earlier this year, as VMware is becoming a part of Broadcom, true to form, made some pretty big changes with layoffs, changes in customer pricing model that ultimately put quite a bit more cost on the customer and escalating costs in the coming years. And I think more than anything else, at least in the world we live in, is it's been really hard on channel partners. So they've terminated thousands of VARs, reinvited a small subset of them to be a part of the program, made changes in the specialty areas that channel partners had made investments in, and brought most of, if not all of their Fortune 1000 accounts to a direct model instead of channel. So for the majority of you, if you're here, that's probably put you in a bind. Those are the conversations, like I said, I'm having every day. I spoke to one partner who said, Rick, that's my 4th largest vendor. VMware is my 4th largest vendor. A very sizable business for us, and we're about to lose 60% of that business in 2024 alone. Let alone what happens in out years on that. So it's very urgent, and even those that have retained some sort of status with VMware do get concerned about where their customers are going to go in the next few years, considering the escalating costs, right? And customers will migrate. Plenty of customers will migrate, I imagine, but they have time, right? We've seen a lot of them that we work with closely. Maybe there's been an early opportunity to make a change, and they say, look, you know what, we're going to take an extra year. We have the time. We can swallow the price increase for this year, but the plan, perhaps in a lot of cases, is they'll make changes next year. So that's good. The customer has time. The thing is, as the channel partner that wants to bring them those solutions, you don't have as much time, right? Because somebody's going to have to be there to take them where they want to go, whether that is in a sort of strategic advisory role or an execution role or both. You kind of have to be there before wherever they're going, and hopefully take them on that journey. So that's an awesome opportunity, I think, for the companies that do it right. There are huge projects to be won, and can be extremely exciting. So that's where Canonical's at right now. We have I think, some really interesting technology to share, some very compelling services that can make that technology beneficial for our customers. And so it's a very, very exciting time for us, and we want to bring that excitement to you and help you get involved in it. So with that, I will pass this off to Dorian to get into what exactly all these alternatives are. So thanks, Dorian.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. And again, my name's Dorian, and been at Canonical a little over 4 years in the Strategic Alliances organization, with a tremendous focus on Dell, obviously, but many ISV partners as well. And as Rick pointed out, there's the motion from Broadcom, the acquisition by VMware, by Broadcom of VMware, has really caused a tremendous amount of anxiety and angst for partners and customers alike. But it also represents a tremendous opportunity for not only for Canonical, but for the partner community as well. And I think the big question that came out of it, now that we've seen the actions in more depth, including a dramatic increase in price, the termination of many partner contractual relationships in the partner ecosystem, as well as with larger partners as well, is really what do we do now, right? What are the choices that we have? How do we help navigate partners and customers alike to a place that helps them address the concern as well as the opportunity? So my sense is, and what we're hearing from customers and partners alike, is really this sense of confusion and concern. And really the point of why Rick and I thought this would be a great idea to do this is just to help customers and partners really understand the problem, but also understand that there's really, really strong, viable solutions out there. And we believe Canonical, we have a tremendous offer. In fact, we have two offers, one for large scale clouds and one for smaller scale clouds. And I'll talk about both of those. So the message that we really want to leave with you today is that there is a tremendous opportunity to partner more closely with Canonical to really help customers on this journey to migrate away from a VMware cloud situation. So before I kind of really dive too deeply into it, I really wanted to sort of help people understand what's happening in the open source community, and specifically with OpenStack, which is essentially open source private cloud. So hopefully you on the phone have heard of OpenStack. It's been around for quite a while, going on 14 years now. When it was first launched, Canonical was there with this motion when it started at the very beginning, at the outset. Canonical is now a 20-year company. So after really focusing on the Linux community, we turn to how do we solve challenges in the cloud as well. And you can see that in the last 5 or 6 years, the growth with OpenStack has been phenomenal. OpenStack has been known to be very, very prevalent in many different industries, including telco and public sector and financial services and many, many others, manufacturing. And what we're seeing is a dramatic, hockey stick-like growth over the last few years of adoption of OpenStack. You can see here that in 2022, there were 40 million cores on OpenStack. We've heard now that we're already up over 50 in the beginning of 2024. So continued tremendous growth. So, for those customers that are thinking about migrating away from a VMware cloud or maybe repatriating from a public cloud, OpenStack is a very, very viable option. And some of the new innovations that are in OpenStack right now, including some of the work that Canonical is doing and contributing to this effort, is really making it a simpler deployment than ever before. Moving on, so the first option I wanted to talk about is for those mid to large scale private clouds. So again, think deployments, VMware deployments of 10, 20, 30, 50,000 virtual machines. In this case, this move to OpenStack, again, the previous slide, remember the growth that we're seeing there. So a move to OpenStack is a very, very viable approach to recommend to customers. Ubuntu, the operating system that we've been behind for the last 20 years and support for the last 20 years, is the #1 platform in OpenStack by a long shot. I mean, we're nearly double our closest competitor. So we are very, very well established as a driver, as a pioneer in this space. And for those large open source deployments for private cloud, OpenStack is a tremendous answer. It's enterprise class. We offer Canonical support around it 24/7 with extremely aggressive SLAs for support questions. It's by far the strongest price performance offer in the market right now. Again, if you know Canonical, our prices are really focused mostly around the enterprise support as well as deployment services, which again, we can partner very closely with our partner community to do that. You can see on the right-hand side is a depiction of kind of a base architecture for OpenStack, ranging from our metal as a service bare metal offer through the IaaS platform and OpenStack itself, layering on Kubernetes as that CaaS platform on top of it, or the container as a service platform. Finally, all wrapped around with our orchestration tools, our automation and orchestration tools, including Juju, which really help to provide a predictable outcome for customers. Again, it's fully automated. The support that we provide behind it with Ubuntu Pro provides all of the upgrade, patching, security, all of the elements that you would expect an enterprise class offer is offered in OpenStack. And this can be either self-managed by customers if they've got the resources available, or if not, Canonical has managed services to help customers with day 2 operations. So if customers don't have those resources, or if they're trying to repurpose VMware resources from being VMware operational savvy to open source and OpenStack savvy, Canonical can augment that while customers ramp up their capabilities. And we have tools and training to help customers do that as well. And it's all wrapped around with a single subscription, and that's Ubuntu Pro. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So one of the questions that we get is, well, how does OpenStack actually stack up against a VMware deployment? And the answer is sort of twofold. First of all, VMware was very successful for many, many years for a reason. They have phenomenal products. It was well packaged, and customers really understood it. They built a very strong business. So thinking of comparing an apples to apples comparison is not necessarily the best way to think about it. That said, many of the key features and functions that customers expect in an enterprise class open source cloud deployment are captured in OpenStack. So what we've done here is to put together a table that looks at some of the key features and functions that most customers use in a cloud deployment. And we've added in the middle column the VMware components, and on the right side you'll see the corresponding Canonical and open source approach. And you can see, for example, in the hypervisor layer, customers are accustomed to ESXi. In a Canonical and open source world, it's KVM. And you can go through the list. I won't read it to you, but again, many of the functionality that customers expect and want are captured in an open source deployment. The only one I'll point out that's not necessarily there, or there's more than a couple, but the top one being cloud management platform. So there will be certain functionality that isn't included in open source. And the way that Canonical solves that is through partnering very, very closely with key leaders in the industry. And an example of a cloud management platform that customers may use VMware Aria for, again, for that single user interface orchestration layer, we've partnered with some of the key cloud management platform players, including Morpheus, who we believe has got a tremendous offer in market and has partnered with many of the similar partners that we have that provide that single pane of glass user interface, self-service portal available that some customers might be accustomed to on a VMware Aria deployment. So we feel very, very good about it. You should feel very good that in a campaign where you're speaking to customers that have a VMware deployment that want to think about an open source deployment with Canonical, that at a feature level, it's very comparable. More often than not, though, the conversation actually starts with a financial discussion, right? And again, as I spoke earlier, Canonical OpenStack has got the strongest cost effective approach in the market today. And what we did about a year ago is a study where we looked at a VMware cost, typical configuration versus a Canonical OpenStack deployment. And you can see there in the chart on the left, the TCO, overall TCO reduction was greater than 40% when comparing the two. And this is really, really sizable when you think about it in larger deployments, especially. Now, as I mentioned, this study was done about a year ago. And as you all know, the cost, the action that Broadcom has taken from a cost perspective has really, if anything, in some cases has gotten much, much more dramatic. And so we've heard of customers and partners giving us examples of 60, 80, almost 100% increases in price from what they used to pay for VMware. This is especially relevant in smaller deployments where customers were paying exorbitant fees for VCF, VMware Cloud Foundation. But at a minimum, we published a white paper, I should say, highlighting this 40% TCO reduction. We can give you the link to that to take a look as well. But I think what you'll see as you talk to your customers, you're probably hearing that there's actually even more impact than the 40% listed here. So that's option one. I started mentioning the smaller deployments, and this is the second option that we have for customers that have deployed products like VxRail, for example, or even Microsoft Azure Stack as another example. These smaller private clouds. So you can think of maybe 3 to 4 node clusters within an appliance or within a rack itself. That's the market that we're talking about with this second offer. And Canonical has a product that was launched a little over a year ago called MicroCloud. It came to market recently. And what it really represents is a smaller footprint, very lightweight. It's got a user interface, unlike OpenStack, where we use partners to fulfill in that user interface. We actually have our own user face that we developed for this. Very, very easy to deploy. I mean, really just a few simple commands to deploy our microcloud into an environment. It can run on virtual machines or system containers if higher density is required. And it's beyond being able to scale down to 3 node. It can also scale up to 50 nodes. Very, very powerful. And it's got really 3 kind of key components. We've really boiled it down to the key essence of what customers are looking for on these smaller private clouds: networking, virtualization, and storage. And each of these, you can see which ones correspond from a product perspective on this chart. And of course, it's underlined by Ubuntu. But we've also done some integration recently with one of our key partners, Dell, for their PowerFlex software-defined storage offer as well. So that can be substituted for Ceph. And our intent is to continue integrating to more storage platforms in the coming weeks. So again, super powerful, great alternative for those smaller, lower-end deployments like VxRail and Azure Stack. And again, what's interesting here is that, in fact, in many cases, these customers are getting hit the hardest first, like right now, because of the cost increase from VCF, from what was pretty small to now $350 plus per core. So if you think about an appliance that might have 64 cores, you can see that price becomes very cost prohibitive. So this might be a space to consider really looking aggressively at with your customers as well. Finally, one of the other questions we get is, well, how do we do the migration here? Like, what are some of the first steps? And so this is just a quick snapshot, and I won't go into a lot of detail here, but just a sense of some of the services we offer. You may be offering some of these services as well, and we'd love to partner with you and understand how you're doing it, or if there's ways that we can help augment what you're doing in any one of these phases. But you can see it starts with a discovery and analysis phase where we really understand what the customer has, how many virtual machines they have deployed, what platform they're on, all the way through the planning and design phase where we try to optimize the configuration for a canonical stack, whether it be OpenStack or microcloud. Through a proof of concept phase, we've done a number of these with some of our key partners in their labs in some cases to ensure that there's a viable POC before moving to pilot and beyond. And then through the testing optimization phase all the way through migration. Now, the migration phase is a really important one because at the end of the day, customers will need to move virtual machines from one platform, one cloud to another, from VMware Cloud to a Canonical OpenStack cloud, or a VxRail to a microcloud deployment. And in this case, we have tools that are lift and shift migration tools from a VMware cloud, or frankly, any cloud, to be honest, doesn't have to be just VMware, to a Canonical OpenStack or microcloud deployment. We use this through some of the tools that we have that we've leveraged through a very tight relationship we've had with a partner for over 10 years. This is also the same partner that helps deliver training services on behalf of us. So experts in Canonical, experts in OpenStack and microcloud. So this is another key objection or key talking point that I'm sure you're going to need to have with your customers. How do we handle migration? We can help you with that. And just because of those design services, because of the offering we have in market, we've done some of these in market today, and this tremendous hockey stick growth of OpenStack. We thought we'd share a couple names of key customers that have placed their trust in Canonical and OpenStack as an enterprise class open source private cloud that they can bet their businesses on. And what you see here is just, again, it's just a snapshot of a few customers across multiple industries and various geographies around the world. So suffice to say, these are many, many household names, global accounts in some cases that I'm sure many of your customers have as well. And finally, I think this is all wrapped around, I guess one of the questions that might be asked as well is, well, how do we purchase this? How do customers start looking at it? And the answer is through Ubuntu Pro. Ubuntu Pro, as many of you know, is a subscription service, right, that wraps around everything that you see in our OpenStack and microcloud. The products that are underneath that is wrapped around with the enterprise support subscription called Ubuntu Pro. What's important to note that it's not just a go-to-market name and vehicle, but what's underneath it inside of Ubuntu Pro is beyond just the Linux operating system. It's actually a distribution, right, of all of those components, from MAS to OpenStack to Kubernetes to all the automation tools wrapped around that, and even up into the open source applications layer, where we provide support for key open source applications like Mongo, Kafka, Cassandra, Elastic, Postgres, and up to tens of thousands of open source applications in that open source Ubuntu universe ecosystem. So again, it's a Linux operating system, but it's an IaaS platform and an open source applications distribution as well, all wrapped around with 12 years of support. So very, very exciting offer that we launched about a little over a year ago. That is the foundation of how we take this to market, with our services wrapped around all of it. Finally, for more information, we have a bunch of information out there for you to look at, white papers on how to migrate from VMware to open source, blogs that we've written, and much, much more. So I encourage you to click on these QR codes and to get more information. And with that, I think, Rick, I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks, Dorian. Great insights, eloquent words as always. So the materials Dorian just shared will all be posted, or are all already posted, on our brand new Canonical Partner Portal, which just went live a couple months back and has had tons of activity on it. I think there are 230 unique organizations that are on this portal already. Some of them Canonical partners already, some of them who have submitted applications and reached out to us wanting to become partners. And we've said, hey, you can have typically we'll give a quarter of access to that partner portal while the company is considering being a partner and trying to get on the path to officializing their relationship with us. But all of our training is housed on this portal. There's a new training for both sales and technical individuals who want to go through training on our product portfolio, our messaging, and the way that we fit into the market in general. So that training is available in certification form, but it's also snackable. So it's not like you have to go through a bunch of prerequisites to get to a certain course. We wanted to set it up so there were 5-10-minute modules on all the different offerings. If you want to prepare for a sales call, or if you have a specific questions you want answered, or your customer wants answered, that you can navigate the training to get to the exact topic that you're looking for quickly. You can also register deals through the partner portal. You can do it on your own, or you can have your distribution partner do so for you. And I'll mention distribution in just a moment. There's also information on how to be a partner for those of you that are new, how to navigate our program and progress a partnership with us. And like I mentioned about our program, so it addresses a lot of types of partnerships. You can do sales, you can do support, you can do MSP type partnerships. You can be a distributor yourself if that's what you're interested in. And all those details are found here on the portal in English, and also translated. Most of what's on the portal is translated into more different languages than I can even count. So if you don't see your language there, also reach out to us and we may be able to get it translated into that one as well for you. So if you are already a partner and you want to access this portal, you simply go to partner.canonical.com and it will ask you if you want to register, and that's where you register. If your name for us is already associated with a Canonical partner that's in that system, then we will simply approve your registration and you'll get an email inviting you to get into the portal. All right. If you are not yet a partner, or you're not sure, then visit canonical.com/partners and you'll find a link to become a partner. And on that spot, you'll have a little application. There's probably 9 or 10 fields that you fill out on where you're located and what your specialty is, and the size of your business, those types of things. And we like to review those and kind of figure out together whether we think it's a fit for us to work more closely with you. So we love having those conversations, and we're always waiting for more, always looking for new partnerships for sure. If you've got something urgent that can't wait for you to join the portal, or can't wait for you to become a partner, perhaps it's a customer opportunity, perhaps a big meeting that you've got coming up, by all means, reach out to us at channel@canonical.com, channel@canonical.com. That will come to that team of individuals that I mentioned earlier, sales, marketing, operations, etc., who can answer your question. And the last thing is if you want to go and just sort of get pricing for your customer is interested in these solutions, your customer hears about Ubuntu Pro and says, we want these support subscriptions from Canonical, please reach out to one of our distribution partners. And there are many globally. We cover the whole world with a variety of distribution partners who are the right partners for us. They are not the largest distributor names in the industry, and this is just how we like it. This is quite the right set of distributors for our business, and a very, very growing set of partnerships here. So if you have one of these distributors in your list of partners already, then by all means reach out to them. If you need to be connected to someone, or you need a recommendation for which distribution partner, channel@canonical.com, as I mentioned. And as we are an open source company, we are also an open channel business. So anyone who is a partner of one of these, we consider a partner of ours, and we're looking forward to working with you on those kind of opportunities. So to sum it up, I think I hope this was a good use of your time. I think Dorian gave us some great insights on an industry trend that is pressing. It's something that's urgent. It's important to us. It's important to just about every channel partner that we talk to. And I think we're going to see the world change a lot. And I think we're going to be hopefully really excited and encouraged, even more so, let's say in 6 months, a year from now, than we already are. So we're looking forward to the partnerships that grow and come, as a result of this webcast, or progressed by this webcast. We hope it's been a useful time for you, and we thank you very much for joining us. First, I know there's a couple questions before I shut it down, so I think Yash, you can, how do we want to do this? You want to post the question in the chat? The question here, I think Andre can take it. Does microcloud support NVIDIA vGPU for virtual workstation workloads with high performance capability?
I think we've
got them answered.
Yeah, we've already been answering in the chat.
Oh.
So no, it's good, but I'm glad you're watching it.
Yeah.
I think if there are any other open ones, let's see.
Here's another one, but it's more generic, and I also just posted the response. Hopefully it makes sense. But just to reiterate, do we have an on-prem implementations and HCI solutions? Yes, so that's exactly what Dorian was talking about. Both are on-prem, and both can or can be not HCI, depending on the desired configuration of the end user. So it all depends on how people want them to be implemented, because it's software only, or software defined. If you want, right, so networking, compute, as well as the storage, it can be compacted into same machines, or it can be disaggregated. It's completely dependent on the user use case. Okay.
What else? Yeah, you see anything else coming in we should answer here?
Here we go. In terms of architecture, typical VMware cluster has shared storage to enable vMotion, etc. Is that architecture supported on microcloud? Yes. So for both solutions, the movement of the VMs to support the high availability of that is definitely dependent on the storage. And as long as the shared storage is provided to the compute, both of them are supporting the migration of the VMs from hypervisor to hypervisor on the live or cold mode. But there's obviously details in the behavior of the ESXi as a hypervisor and KVM as a hypervisor, which is the heart of both solutions in this case, is slightly different. So that's why the behavior might be slightly different than the vMotion on the vCenter. But fundamentally, yes, it is what's supported out of the box. Hopefully, Pablo, that addresses your question here.
Looks like all of the answers, all the questions have been answered, I believe.
Last call. These are great questions. Great questions. Okay. Well, I said 45. Instead, it's 41. Super excited that you all decided to join us. And like I said, I hope it was as useful a time for you as it was for us. We are having a blast working with you partners who are already with us. I can't wait to work with more of you. We think it's just the beginning. So thanks again for joining us, and hope to hear from you. Hope to talk to you soon. And thanks, Dorian and Andre. Bye now.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.